Hello everyone. Now I've got a parents evening at 10 to 3 today, so I must keep an eye on the time, and I know I'm a little bit late. I always underestimate the amount of time it takes me to prepare to come on live. I'm just going to put hello Shoshana. Always underestimate the amount of time it takes me. And like Pamela, I noticed today, Pamela, your video, you'll get ready with me. I've been watching it. I always forget one thing. And I still probably have, I know what I've forgotten, my concealer. So I gather everything around me. And I always think, oh, I've got plenty of time. Before you know it, it's beeping that it's 1 o'clock. So I'll be honest with you. I was not in the mood to put anything at all on my face today, but I'm going to this parents' evening, and I could have quite easily gone with nothing, literally not done a thing, because I'm feeling a bit low. But the fact that I know I had you guys on live is good, because I know that once I get my face on, it will give me energy, definitely. Now, I've just been trying out some samples. So thank you, Ali Pallies. I should say, hello, Ali Pallies. Hello, Shoshana. I tried out this morning, and, you know, I picked up a few samples last week. Hello, Helena. And I like this. First impression is I like it. It's a sample of Vichy Mineral 89 Booster. Now, a lot of Vichy's skincare I find is too perfumed. Exactly, it is, isn't it? But then you feel so much better when you don't do that. Hello, Julianne. So I got this. Mineral 89. Now, a lot of Vichy's are very perfumed. And the day cream that I've got, which is called something like anti-age. Great, isn't it? The day cream is nice, but it's got a lot of perfume in it. Hello, 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 Gemma. Oh, I haven't seen Gemma here before. Hello, Gemma. Have I said hello to everyone? Yes, Helena, Shoshana, Julianne, Gemma. Hello, hello, hello. So, but this one doesn't seem to have any fragrance in it. It's not overpowering, and it's very moisturising, because my skin has felt really dried out since the antibiotics. The antibiotics have dried me out. They made my teeth look black, but I used some whitening rinse this morning, and it revived the colour a bit. But that often happens, by the way, with antibiotics. It's bizarre. They make your teeth look black, and then when you come off them, they look fine. Have you ever noticed that? It's really bizarre. Anyway, so going off subject again. So this Vichy I found was really good, because what it did is it gave me, it's a kind of gel-like texture. It's a serum, and it just gave me an instant moisture boost, but without making my skin look oily. Because there is sometimes you get so much moisture in, you know, looking back at that video the other day, I looked really oily until I powdered. And yet my skin needed that moisture. So this is really good. If you like to get moisture into your skin, but you don't like the feeling of feeling too oily, this is really good. And it's called Vichy Mineral 89. Only just started using it this morning, but very good. And the other thing that I've been telling some of my Ali Pallies about, I've put this under my eyes just because my eyes have been a bit sensitive, and I always fall back on this when I have sensitive eyes, and that is the La Roche posay toleriane. The Charlotte Tilbury one is good, but it's got retinol in it, which in the daytime, it's better to put it on at night time. In the daytime, I tend not to use if I've got sensitive eyes. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. And I haven't put my sunscreen on, so I'll put that on. And I'm going to take this pump thing with a pinch of salt, because the pumps are a lot bigger now, and I don't believe that they are completely measured. Sorry, Dr. Sam Bunting. I think that's about enough, and I didn't pump that right down to the bottom. That's more than enough. And I know I'm not a dermatologist, and if they were consistently all the same amount that came out when I pumped, I would follow it to the letter. But I don't find that those pumps are consistent. And for this thing about being a measured dose, now I kind of half pumped each pump. And this is plenty. Look, I've still got all that on my hand. This is plenty. There's no way that I'm going to need more than that. And that's what was coming out when I first bought it. That was about the amount that was coming out. But if I pressed down and done a full pump, full 3 pumps, there was way more than I needed. You can see that is plenty. I know that you need to use more than you think. I just don't trust those measured doses. As I say, if they were consistent all the time, then I would, but they're not. They're definitely not. They need to work on that a bit more, I think. I don't know, maybe some actually builds up below and... Yeah, they aren't, you agree they're not consistent, Shoshana? When I first got it, I thought, I'm doing the right thing because that's the amount that I put on. And I did 3 pumps and I pressed it down completely. And I thought, that's the amount I'm putting on. But after a couple of days, I put 3 pumps and it was almost double the amount. So I thought what I'd do today is, I'm just going to keep my, I've got this clock in the background. Just wanted to mention something completely beauty related, but I know a few of you have got conditions that make mobility difficult and stuff. One of my absolute godsends, I bought a complete on-the-spot purchase a couple of years ago, which I now couldn't live without, is my Tassimo machine. And boy, has it helped me. I've had so much use out of it. Hello, Leslie. I just quickly made myself a cup of tea. I get really bad in the morning, balance-wise. Can't really stand a lot in the morning. Well, it's towards the end of the day, I can sustain a little bit more walking and standing. And what I do at night is I fill up the Tassimo machine with my water, stick my pod in there, and then when I get up in the morning, I literally go in the kitchen, press a button, and out comes my tea. And it's a nice cup of tea as well, the English breakfast. But if you've got a Tassimo machine and you like Earl Grey, don't get the Earl Grey because it doesn't taste of Earl Grey at all. But the English breakfast is lovely. And you press one button and out it comes. Obviously, you have to add milk. But that has been a real godsend and I've used it a lot. And the boys like their hot chocolate in it. So I'm going to show you this. I know that I showed you some photos the other day, but the cold cream, I'll put a little bit over here, just on my cheeks, so that you can see what this looks like. I don't need that much now because I've put magic cream on and sunscreen, but I want you to see, it smells so nice. It's all essential oils. So, do you have Keurig in the UK? I don't know. I've not heard of them. Now, look at that. Can you see that gloss that it gives you? And I think, you know, ladies, when you've got this area around here, I mean, for me, it's more around here, but I know for others, it's a bit more around here. I think this is a really good way of kind of minimizing fine lines and dryness around this area, and also hopefully protecting me a little bit from my eyes watering. Look at that glow. I love it. It smells gorgeous. See, everybody's coming back to cold creams. That's what my nan was using all those years ago. She used to use a flannel and Pond's cold cream to cleanse and moisturise, and there was nothing wrong with her skin. In her 80s, before she died, her skin was beautiful, my nan's, absolutely beautiful. And when some older members of the family see me, they look at me and they mention her name and they just say, wow, you're your nan. You're your nan's granddaughter, because I kind of look a lot like her, and apparently my character's quite like her as well. And it's really weird because my granddad and my partner quite similar too. Like, my granddad was very quiet and he used to make jokes. He was really quiet and then he'd come out with a joke and have everyone in hysterics. But he wasn't like a people person and come out chatting. That was my nan. And that's exactly me and my partner. That's exactly me and my partner. I'll be there, obviously, doing what I'm doing now, chatting away. He'll be really quiet in the corner and then he will come out with something that will have you in hysterics. Yes, but you can use Pond's, you see, as a cleanser and moisturiser. Now, I'm going to do a revisit a few past loves today. And I was in a bit of a peachy mood as well. Past and new. I'm gonna call this something old, something new, something not borrowed. I don't think I've borrowed anything. And something blue. I might do a tutorial one day called that, and I'll borrow somebody's makeup. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. That would be really good fun, wouldn't it? So I'm going to use Laura Mercier. I just used that as a primer. So I use this cold cream just to prime my face a little bit. But just around the cheek area, not around here. Because I don't want that to be over oily. I was going to say something about my nan and granddad, but it's gone. It'll come back. So I'm just going to put this Laura Mercier foundation on, which I thought, because I fancy something glowy but reasonably full coverage. So it's Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation. And as you know, it's my mum's birthday yesterday, and I came into a bit of money. And so I'll probably be buying some stuff, but I don't know what to get now. Hello, Linda. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So this is typical of my other half's humour. And if this friend ever recognises herself and watches my channel, no, actually, she'll find it funny too. I won't get into trouble, so I can say. But it was very early on in our relationship when I was pregnant, because as you know, I got pregnant quite quickly. And I was invited to a friend's house. She was having a party. And she's Greek, so she's very Greek, you know, very out there and very confident and everything. And Mick was very shy, because he's very shy, you know, but he had lived in Greece when he was younger. So he was kind of looking forward to it, but he was also a bit nervous because he felt a little bit intimidated, I think, by the fact that we were all therapists, we were all NHS, and we were all going to psychoanalyse him. And my friend's father was a psychiatrist, and, you know, he's not in the medical world at all. So he was feeling a bit nervous. And we got there, and I was really feeling for him because, so I'm just putting this on, by the way, and then I'll put my concealer on. I was really feeling for him because I got there and there were lots of academics there that were kind of, they were medics and therapists, but a lot of them were very theoretical ones as well. So they were all sort of in little groups talking to one another. And I felt like to be honest, I didn't feel that comfortable either, but there was a lot of Greek dancing going on, so that kind of lightened it. And then my friend asked me to sing, and I got up and sung and stuff. And then we got to talking to this group of people, and they were very academic, and I could see that Mick was getting really uncomfortable. And one of them turned around and said to him, well, what do you do? And of course, my other half's a carpenter and builder, and I think he felt very intimidated. But at that point, his humour came in, and he said, and this was totally off the cuff, and I had to keep my face straight, and I managed to do it. I don't know why. He said he was a gynecologist and that he'd met me in a major London teaching hospital in the canteen, and he came out with this story, and he said, and our eyes met over the coffee table, and I had to keep pulling my glass up to my face because I thought, I've got to go along with this now. And he was actually giggling, and I was giggling, and I thought, this guy's going to know that he's not telling the truth in a minute. But this guy totally sucked it up, because although he was quite an academic, he really wasn't a people watcher, and he hadn't noticed the sniggering that was sort of under our breath. And he was like, oh, that's so interesting. How did you get into the field of gynecology? And that was it. He was off, and he was so sort of believable and not believable, and it was very funny, and we had such a giggle about it. So yeah, so that night Mick was a consultant gynecologist, an obstetrician, and I was so fearful that the conversation was going to get a little bit into gynecology and obstetrics. Do you know what I mean? But thankfully he kept it clean. and the thing was, he actually ended up getting on really, really well with my friend's dad, who was a psychiatrist, even though he felt a bit nervous, because they started talking about Greece, and he got on really well with him. And whereas some of the others that were kind of probably had a lot more career-wise in common with her dad kind of avoided him for whatever the issues, because everyone avoids a psychiatrist, don't they? And even if you're a therapist, you avoid psychiatry. But he got chatting to him and got on really well with him. So I don't know what made me come out with that. It was just talking about my granddad and how he was very shy. Mick's very shy too. But he can use humour to help himself out of it. And I suppose I use humour as well, as you know, to help me out of things. So I'm just using Huda's concealer, and I'm just patting that under my eyes and over the top a bit, and using the Laura Mercier sponge to blend it in. And I'm now tempted, Shoshana, to get the powder. I might order that this afternoon. The pink powder, just to see what it's like. And I was going to say, because Pamela thought that she'd seen my Filmstar Bronze and Glow. She thought she'd seen her Filmstar Blush and Glow on my channel. And I said, it's the one product I don't have of Charlotte Tilbury. And it's the reason being was when it came out, you know, they had a blush and a bronzer. So it looked like this. When it came out, the bronzer looked too fair. And so I didn't actually go for it. No, I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury shade 1. But I might have a look at some other powders. So I didn't get that because the bronzer, to be honest, this one in light to medium is a little bit on the fair side. So I knew the bronzer was going to be too fair for me. And the blush that went with it looked beautiful, but it looked very similar to Love is a Drug. So I thought, it's not different enough to Love is a Drug to justify me getting the bronze and blush and never using the bronze. But what I do have is, I'm going to catch up with your comments in a minute, and I might use it today just to give me a bit more colour than, because I have been feeling just, you know, when you're feeling, you might not look necessarily pale, but you feel like you want a bit more colour. I've got the dark one of Filmstar Bronze and Glow. And this is really weird because a lot of people say, oh, but you can't use that as a highlighter. But actually, when you dust it on, it does look like a highlighter. Everyone's saying, oh, it's more like a blush. And when you put it on your finger like that, but when you actually dust it on, let me get my setting brush. when you dust it on the skin, it does actually look like a highlighter. It's a warm highlighter for sure, but it does, you kind of, it's a sort of very, almost on the verge of being a highlighter, but you could use it as a blusher as well. So it's quite, you know, quite, I can't think of the word, you know what I mean. You can use it for a lot of things. Anyway, so I'm going to put some powder on, and I'm going to use my Becca under eye setting powder for my under eyes. I must bring out my e.l.f. one, because the e.l.f. one is identical to this. Okay, I'm going to look at your comments while I'm doing this. I'm very shy with people I don't know. It's a terrible feeling. You want to join in but can't. People who know me think I'm an extrovert. And sometimes some of the, like, in social situations, I can be very shy and people laugh when I say that. But sometimes I think when I was training to be a singer, and, you know, we're all up there like lovies, it's easy to get up on stage and to be really extrovert to a faceless audience. That's very different to being in a room full of people at a party and having to have a conversation with them. Yeah, I often feel like, oh, you know, if you go into a room full of people you don't know, I have to force myself sometimes to actually go up and chat to them. And I know that probably sounds ridiculous, knowing me on here as you do, but it is a different kind of interaction. I've got to know you guys on here from you kind of sending me messages. And then, you know, we've gradually got to know one another like that. But if we'd all just sort of met on, say I'd done the hangout on the first day I started my channel, that wouldn't have worked, would it? It's a very different kind of interaction. So, and you know, in some ways, my partner's more confident than me. Like, I wouldn't have had the guts to pretend that I was something other than what I am in front of a room full of strange people. I really would not. I'd have thought, oh, God, he's going to find me out and he's going to think I'm being mean to him or whatever. So there's different kinds of shyness, isn't there? Right, I'm just using Charlotte's Genius Magic Powder. I'll stop calling it smelly powder. Just on the rest of my face to set my foundation. I also want to get some Wayne Goss brushes now. I just had a text saying my dentist is overdue. That's an understatement. I think when you're shy, it's easier to play a part. Yes. Do you know what? I always feel sorry for hairdressers because they always have to sort of start, oh, are you doing anything nice this weekend? There's only so many things that you can say, isn't there? It's quite an intimate thing that you're doing, but at the same time, you don't know the person very well unless they've been coming to you for years. So I do think it's quite difficult to start off a conversation. And when I'm sitting there, I think, oh, what can I say? You know, and I always sort of start with, oh, are you doing anything nice this weekend? Talk about the weather or something, you know, just so you're not sitting there in silence. Right, so that's my foundation and my setting powder on. And I'm going to have a sip of tea. Now, I'm going to show you what the darker bronze and glow looks like a little bit. I used the Daniel Sandler blushes again yesterday. I love them. They are very expensive and they're not easy to get hold of in the UK. I wish you'd make it a bit easier to buy in the UK so that you don't have to risk the customs. So this is the dark one. Can you see, like, I'm almost in between the shades. So the light one is slightly too light and this one is probably slightly too dark. I always feel like there should be one somewhere in the middle. Or have a darker bronzer but with the same highlighter. That would be nice. So I'm just using this to sculpt. And I'll show you the highlighter. Because it's, you know, people say it's more of a blush. And it is quite orangey toned. But it can actually look like a highlighter. Depending on how and where you apply it. And obviously, if you're darker than me, it's going to look more like a highlighter than on me. Can you see? I think people see the colour and think that's more of a blush. But it just, if you actually think, okay, I'm going to suspend my disbelief, this is a highlighter, and apply it as you would a highlighter, it does apply like one. It is crazy that you can't buy them easier here. Because Wayne is from the UK. And whenever he does his reviews, I love Wayne, don't get me wrong. Whenever he does his reviews, he talks in dollars. It's almost as though, does he actually live in the UK? Does anyone know where he lives? Because he talks as though he's living in the middle of New York. And I'm sure he doesn't. But he's always talking in dollars. And I know he's exclusive to Beautylish. But he's always talking in dollars. Which I find a bit unusual because, especially if he's living in the UK. Maybe he's not. But if you live in the UK, you automatically talk in pounds. You know, and I'm often aware that we, sorry, someone sent me a message. I'm often aware, what was I saying? Oh, my head at the moment. Yeah, I'm often aware that I might irritate people because I talk about pounds. And a lot of you are from the States, but that's what you do automatically. And I don't understand why he's always talking in dollars if he lives in the UK. He probably does have a lot of US subs, but it just seems to come off the tongue so naturally. You know, he's very chatty and he talks in a very natural style. Now, if I was to talk about what something cost, I'd go, oh, and it's blah, blah, blah. And I'd be looking down at something to see what the dollars were. But he seems to think in dollars. Maybe everybody he's done business with deals in dollars. Yeah, you convert, don't you, in your head? And I would be saying, oh, well, you know, it's £30, so that's going to be about blah. But he just says, oh, and this is $65 and this is $49. And it's as though he's not even thinking in pounds ever. That's just my observation. And I just find that strange. Exactly, Terry. If he lives in the UK, why aren't they available? Because he's exclusive to Beautylish. And Beautylish is an American company. And it's the same thing with Real Techniques brushes. Now, Real Techniques you can kind of get over because they sell their brushes at Boots and Superdrug. So you can kind of get over that. But when they bring out new brushes and new ideas, they're first available on their US site. And all that Pixie will have ever said is, it is what it is. We were signed up with an American company and it is what it is. But I just think, you've got all these followers, that are from the UK because you're from the UK. I don't know. It doesn't worry me too much about that because eventually you can get them in the UK. But with Wayne's, you can't get them anywhere. You know, if you could go into Selfridges or Harvey Nichols and get them, that would be fine. But you can't get them anywhere in the UK. You have to go onto Beautylish and then you have to pay the customs. Now, I thought what I would do is bring back a reasonably old love. I just was in the mood for Tom Ford. Peach. Golden Peach. Which I'm just going to apply with my fingers. I still love this eyeshadow. Just take a look at that. Whenever I demonstrate this, I have people going, where'd you get that? What shade is it again? Look at that. That's just a swipe of the finger. Just get where that's settling there. This lasts so long on the eyelid. It doesn't budge. It doesn't gather. It looks like you've just applied it 8 hours later. And I did a wear test. So... Oh, did she? She's announced Eyes to Mesmerise coming back soon. So this is very like Charlotte's Rose Gold. But if you want to see the difference between this and Charlotte's Eyes to Mesmerise in Rose Gold, I did a video where I compared the two and did a wear test. Okay. They are Real Techniques. Pixie Woo are British, but Real Techniques is American. So the company they do the brushes for is American. So when they first come out, the brushes, they're only available from Real Techniques website, which is in the US. Which is why they often go to the States a lot. So I'm just going to put this underneath. Like so. So I'm still on this cream eyeshadow. And then I had an idea. It's something I've never used with this before. And I had to dig it out because I haven't used it for a while. But we're getting to spring, although it doesn't look like that in the UK at the moment. And this is a palette that my sister uses. I've told you she uses the same things on a daily basis, almost. Maybe a couple of different eyeshadow palettes. But this is one that she has restocked and used till it's gone and restocked. And that's reusing an eyeshadow palette, you know. Too Faced, Sweet Peach. I thought I'd put, because that's Golden Peach, I'd put something from it in the crease. So I'm going to use... I still love the smell of this. I've got a box with a load of Sweet Peach stuff in the box together. When you open the box, all you can smell is peaches. So I'm going to use a mixture of this one and this one, which are quite matte. Just in the crease. The sun's out. In London, it's really dim. Yeah, that's nice. Just hold on a second, because somebody in my family is messaging me and they're a bit anxious that I see a message. I'm just going to let them know I've seen the message and I'll be straight back. Otherwise, they're going to keep messaging me, and I'm hoping they don't suddenly ring me to make sure I've seen the message. Okay, so bear with me. Just stay there. I'm still here. Sorry about that, guys. So my sister, she knows I do a live, but she still forgets, and then texts me and says, "Have you seen my text?" And then gets anxious I haven't seen it. And then and I thought any minute now she's going to ring me, and then that really will interrupt my feed. So I just wanted to quickly text her. Right, now I am going to put a little bit of something darker called Summer Yum. And actually I'm going to take these two. Summer Yum. Where are you? Summer Yum. Yeah, Summer Yum, and this one up here. And I'm going to just put that in the corner. Just to take some puffiness away. I'm the same about the heat. If it gets too hot, then my lymphedema really flares. And I just take that underneath to link it up. And then I'll take this white peach at the top just to highlight gently under my brow. It's not too in your face. It's just nice. Adds a nice highlight. And then to finish off, I'm going to put what I call the pop shade, because it's the equivalent of this Tom Ford over the lid. And then I'm going to zoom in on my lids, because this eyeshadow is gorgeous. And I'm just doing what I would do with the Charlotte Tilbury pop shades. Okay, here's the zoom in. Look at that for a quality eyeshadow. And what I love about it is it just doesn't, I don't find it accentuates crepiness, because it's just got enough emollient in it to take that crepiness away, but not make it so emollient that it's going to slide off. Such a good eyeshadow. So that's Tom Ford Golden Peach. I love it. Right, and then I thought I will do some, I'll quickly do some mascara. Don't worry, I don't mind you chatting about the weather. I like it that you all are getting to know one another. It's really great. I love it. And I'm going to put on, I'm going to be boring. And And I'm going to put on my... I'll put on my Charlotte Tilbury Legendary brows, only because my Anastasia one isn't right here. And I'm just looking for... an eyeliner. Bear with me a second. Oh, come on, eyeliner. Oh, have I got one on up there? I've got one of those NYX ones up here somewhere. That'll do. Yeah. Oh, La Roche Posay. This is for sensitive eyes. This is a La Roche Posay toleriane. It's called respectissime. It's a hypoallergenic black eyeliner. And it is very hypoallergenic. It's not the blackest of eyeliners, but it's good for sensitive eyes. And I'm going to do my upper waterline and see how it does with that. I haven't used this eyeliner for ages. I'd forgotten about it. So that is Respectissime by La Roche Posay. So it's for sensitive eyes. Very good for sensitive eyes. Oops. Oops. Right, so that's Charlotte's Supermodel. And then I'm going to do my mascara. One thing that Wayne Goss says about Tom Ford, and he's right, is when you compare the amount of product that you get in here to similar products, it's actually cheaper. And that's the same with a lot of Tom Ford products, that they actually look expensive, but you get more for your money. So they're not as expensive as you think they are. And I've compared things with Charlotte Tilbury in the past, and they've turned out to be cheaper. And I did that thing a few weeks ago. This now I'm using up. The only thing is I'm not sure about getting that shade 1. Because when I added up how much you pay for this and the quantity you get for it, it worked out a lot more expensive than La Prairie powder, which is £70. And if you were to get the equivalent amount of this, it came to something like £180, because there's a lot less in this. So, but you have to pay more as an outlay, so that is a factor, but it lasts you longer. I suppose it also depends on how long the product lasts. There's no point getting more for your money if it goes off. Right. And then I'm going to use, I got some peach blushes in that peach collection from Too Faced, which seems like such old hat now, doesn't it? The Too Faced peach collection. Now, I got two of the things. This blush, I got this contour set, which is nice, but it was a bit fair for me. I'll show it you. That's looking like it's going a bit mottled, but anyway, I'll show you the blush. It's nice, but it's very, very subtle. Actually, I think it's showing up more on me today because of my, I'm a bit paler than usual. And then there's a bronzer. Now, the bronzer has definitely felt a bit fair, but let's see what that looks like on today. I'll just put a bit underneath. See, that barely shows up at all on me. Let's try. It's not bad. It's quite subtle. It'd be good for doing a nose contour with, because you don't want it to look too obvious, or under the chin. And then the highlighter. Which is okay. It's okay. It's not my favourite, but it's okay. But the one that I got also that was separate to that, so that was their Sweet Peach Glow Illuminating Blushing and Bronzing Palette. I think this would be very good if you were fair-skinned. I just think it was a little bit too on the fair side for me. But I then went and got the separate blush called Papa Don't Peach, I think it was. Oh, I just love the smell of these. And this looks really nice. I'll show you. This kind of was more my colour. It just shows up a bit more on my skin tone and gives me a lovely pop of peach. And I had sort of those lip oils as well, but I'm not going to use... I could show you them, though. I only got a couple. I got a sample one. I'll show you the samples. But they don't last very long. Don't worry, you can always look back at the info. So this one's Papa Don't Peach as well. So this was one of their lip oils. That does look incredibly flattering on. I just think it's better if you put a lip liner underneath, because it's very emollient, but it doesn't last that long. Can you see that? It's not going to last that long on your lips, but it's a lovely colour. And then I got a sample of Pure Peach. So that's Pure Peach. More like glosses, really. And I seem to remember that they taste nice. Yeah, they still taste nice. They taste of peaches. But now I wanted to show you, is it here? Yes, it is. Because this is what I really wanted to show you. So for those of you, I don't think Thorndyke's on, but Thorndyke, if you're watching this back, take note. Anyone with pigmentation. Now this peach blur, right, it's one of those, it's a little bit like, it reminded me, not in terms of the product, but in terms of the feeling I had after I used it. It reminded me a lot of the, you know, the palette, What's that finishing palette that I've got that everyone says looks too subtle? Help me, guys. You know the one I mean. It's going to come to me. Help me, help me, help me. The one that gives you all sorts of different effects. So you can put some round. It's a finishing powder. You know the one I mean. And I can't think of the name. And it's not in here. Anyway, it reminds me of that one. And it'll come to me in a minute. It definitely will come to me. But the what you know the one I mean. And they do ambient lighting palette. Yes, the ambient lighting palette. It reminds me a bit of that. Is you put it on and you think, I can't see anything. And then you put this on. And it's very similar. You think, I can't see anything. And then you look in, you take a photo of yourself. And it definitely makes a difference. Now, I'm just going to, let me see if I can screenshot myself whilst I'm doing a live. I think I can. And then I'm going to, I don't think I can post it, but I can post it at another time or put it on Instagram. Right. So, don't worry, I'll edit out the comment underneath. Hang on, let me just do it again. Then there's no comments underneath. All right, now, this peach blur is a finishing powder, right, as opposed to a setting powder. So the idea is it's supposed to finish off your complexion after you've done all your setting and everything else. And they said it's completely different to a setting powder. And it's got a slight peach tint to it, right? And when you put it on, you may not see any difference, but it does. You can see it definitely when you take a photograph. Let's see anyway. See what you think. So everyone, are you all now concentrate, guys? I want you to concentrate on my complexion and I want your opinion. And I will take a photo. I've taken the photo and I'm going to take an after one. But I'm just going to put this now over my face. And so it's a finishing powder with a slight peach tint in it. Shall I do half? I'll do my forehead and then I'll do half of my face. Actually, I can see that immediately on that side. So I'm just doing this side of my face. It's subtle, but it kind of gives you that polished, finished look. So have a look at that side of my skin where I've put the finishing powder. Right, now look at this side. It sort of evens out your skin tone a little bit more and kind of blurs things out. Can you see the difference, or is it too subtle? So this is Too Faced Peach Blur. Definitely if you've got hyperpigmentation and a bit of muddiness, or you're going to be at a wedding and you're having photographs taken, because it definitely shows on camera more than it does in real life. And I really, when I bought it, I thought, I can't see any difference. But then I started to notice it, certainly on camera. And it smells of peach as well. And you can kind of go over your eyeshadow a little bit and just blur it in. Okay, so we're going to go for a lipstick. And I know I picked one out, especially. I didn't pick out a lip liner, though. That was clever. But I picked out a lipstick. And again, it's Tom Ford. I'm going to do the lip liner later. Actually, I'll show you. These are both very similar, but they're not. And I think I know which one I'm going to go for. But I'm going to show you them both. You'll see what I mean. They're similar, but they're not similar. I've got two Tom Ford lipsticks around the same time that some people would say, you're mad. They look almost the same, but they're not. First of all, I'm going to show you this one, which is called True Coral. This is gorgeous. True Coral, which is the one I think I'm going to put on today. I seen that, Linda, and I had a sniff of it in Boots to see if it smelt anything like the Too Faced one. I was intrigued to maybe get it and do a comparison. Now, that's yeah, the L'Oreal one. And then this one is called Wild Ginger, which looks similar but then doesn't because it's more orange. But those are the sort of shades that I like. And I think I'm going to go for True Coral. Or I could always mix them together. But I think I'll go for True Coral. What do you reckon, guys? True Coral or Wild Ginger? What shall I wear today? I think that's too orangey for my look, isn't it? Yeah, True Coral. I should put a liner on, but I'm not getting up and I haven't bought any liners with me. Oh, hang on, I might have one in here. I might have a lip liner that is the right colour within reach. Oh, I thought I did. No. No, no, no. No. Anyway. See, that makes me smile. I like that colour. So that is my look for today, guys. And you can just... I can do my last minute play. So I'm all ready now to go to my son's parents' evening, which is actually in the afternoon. Have a lovely day, everyone. Wherever you are, and whatever the weather's like. I'll catch up with your live comments later. And if I've missed anything out that you've asked, then I will reply. So keep a lookout for comments below. Any pinned comments, I'll put the replies if I've missed any of your questions. All right? Take care. Have a lovely day. And you want more mascara? Okay, I'll do that before I go. Yes, definitely more mascara. You're right. Thank you, Terry. Okay, see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.